then? The Slipstream DLC?
No, I don't have any DLCs installed. This is just liftoff from Steam. Under free flight.
We're live.
Under free flight.
I don't remember that track. I'll have to check it out.
Woohoo! Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Drone Therapy. One of those things. We're actually going to have an FPV night tonight where you all ask questions and stuff, and Caleb kind of fills in the blanks, and Rod's a beginner in FPV, so he's going to give some answers, and hopefully one or two more people might show up and have their input. Plus, we'll be taking questions from you all in the chat as well. So,
I'm here to ask questions.
Oh,
I don't know that I could answer anything.
And let me roll back up here and go through real fast. And we're going to say hello to Drone Shots. Jody, good evening. Dave from AZ Drone Dude. Angie from Lost Girl Adventures. Joe from USA Drone Flyer. Captain Joe America. Hey, Lee from Yellow Rose Drones. Glad to see you. Rolling, get down here to Barkley. He was saying hey, but I do believe he said he had dinner coming up, so he's taking off. Mikey, if you look on Facebook, you have a link waiting for you. Mike's supposed to be here. He was going to help give us some more input on FPV tonight. Leonard, glad to have you as well, sir. Did I mention Jody? Yes, hey, Jody from Drone Shots. I'll pop it in there again. Barkley, and then he says dinner calls, and then we've got John from Flyer and Flynn Media in the house. Glad to have you as well, sir. Okay, cool. Okay, and with that being said, I will start with I'll throw the first question out. We'll ask Caleb, what is the best way for someone, let's say, like me or a beginner, to start in FPV? What do you recommend?
So definitely starting out, you're going to want to do a simulator. We were just talking about Liftoff, which is my favorite. They built their own physics engine to deal with wind resistance and all that sort of stuff. So I always feel like it feels a little bit better than some of the other ones. Some people would fight me on that. There's always like a top 3 that feel best to different people. But basically just getting a simulator and really getting a real controller of some kind and plugging that into your computer and using that, not like a 360 controller. Because the problem with regular video game controllers, I can actually show you right here, is that the left stick is in the middle. And you need your throttle to start at 0. Otherwise, all you have is half of a stick, and that's going to be your entire throttle range, and that makes it really hard to feel any sort of accurate throttle. Basically, you're going from 200 points of movement to like 20. So good luck. You can be done, and it does work. It's just not nearly as good.
And I got one. If you like the game style, this is the one that I have, which is the Radio Master Zorro, which is a lot like an Xbox controller in feel, which is part of the reason I bought it.
Yeah, and how much was the Zorro?
100 and something, 119 or something like that.
Still a little bit more. You can get some like the cheaper Flymasters and stuff. You can get some stuff for pretty cheap. Like
that's ELRS too.
80 bucks. Oh, okay, that's why. Yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, you can get slightly cheaper ones. You can go anywhere from
okay, and please, people in the chat, don't forget to throw in your questions for Caleb.
This is what I started with, Spectrum DX6. Nice big boy, lots of different things. You can do all sorts of different stuff. But as you can tell, you get much more range of motion there than with an Xbox controller. And they feel a little bit different. So that's what I started with. I still use it for a few things, but for the most part, Spectrum has been kind of phased out. So like Rod's got the ELRS, which is one of the best protocols right now for receiver and transmitting.
Oh, what? Seriously?
And this is what I usually use right now, which looks even more like a video game controller. This is the TBS Tango 2. It uses Crossfire instead of ELRS, which is
whatever you do, whatever you decide on, buy and practice with the controller that you're going to fly the drone with, so that there's
Curtis is asking what you think a DX6 is worth.
I don't know anymore, to be honest with you. I mean, they still work great for a lot of things. They're still good for planes and RCs and stuff like that. It's just not been used a lot in the FPV market these days. I think when I bought mine, it was like $350. Obviously, I've broken a couple things and all sorts of fun like that. But big boy, I don't get it.
Yeah, I wasn't saying anything. I was gonna let you read it and go from there.
I have no idea.
It kind of blew me away too.
Things that look like faces. Who's the big boy?
I'm assuming you're the big boy.
And I look like a face. I have a face. I would assume that I look like a face.
The whole show is done.
Hey, everybody's here.
Where's the glasses, Caleb?
The glasses. I don't wear glasses. Bill just likes playing with my face, I've realized.
No.
He makes all the best pictures for me.
Wait. Here you go. They have a setting now. Touch up my appearance. And get this. When you turn it on, I just turned it on. It's at medium. It actually has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 settings. I'm on setting 3. Let's see how more plastic I might look. I don't know. That's fully touched up, but I don't know if it's doing anything.
Actually,
Looks
Ron,
if you had it turned off, Bill.
do you have the DJI remote for your Avata yet?
I have the DJI remote for my Avata.
Yeah, the sticks. You got the FPV remote?
Oh, I have both remotes for the Avata.
Yeah. So he could go. Wait. You never know. Ron's going to surprise us and go full manual mode with his Avata.
I've never done anything but fly it in the mode.
Sports and normal. Yeah.
Even with the good controller, I've only floated in.
Oh, I want to real quick.
Auto.
I want to give you a quick preview of next week's show. Where in the world is G. Nemo Edwards? Nemo's going to be on next week's show.
He's back. The man is back.
Nemo's going to be on next week. That's why I said I wanted to do it to the Carmen San Diego theme, so we call it "Where in the World is G. Nemo Edwards?"
So where are my best next week, huh?
Nah, you know how Gary is. Gary's pretty much as laid back as the rest of us. But yes, please continue. Let us continue. First off, we said, okay, we got best. What's the best sim? What's the best, simplest sim? And what's the cheapest controller to get somebody started? Because as we all know, yeah, I would love to get a Tango too. I'd love to get a Radio Master, but those are expensive, and we're trying to get.
If you've bought like a Tiny Hawk little thing, you could use the remote from that for the sim.
Oh,
if you bought one of the little Tiny Hawk,
yeah, you can use. You can use just about anything.
Oh, look what Maddie's saying.
You know, Maddie, that's an interesting question. I asked somebody that, and they actually said the sim seemed to be kind of close.
Free Rider.
It's all over the place. So everybody has a different opinion on whether the gravity feels correct in sims. My two responses are generally, then you should build an aircraft that it acts more like yours. Like in Liftoff, you can actually change out your batteries to have a heavier battery or things like that, blah, blah, blah. Or just change up the gravity in the sim until it feels like what you fly. Because it's not that hard to be like, okay, I need to add a little bit of drag, add a tiny bit more gravity, and boom, now it actually acts like my drone in real life.
So, Maddie, is it too much gravity or not enough gravity in the sim?
But yeah, everybody has a different opinion on that. And usually that's where you hear somebody being like, oh, Velocidrone is way better than Liftoff. It's literally just like a slight gravity change that they feel, and they make it, it seems like it's a whole different thing. To me, though, the gravity isn't really the big deal. The sims are more to get you just in the feel of the sticks, in the feel of the flight. A lot of people, the first time they fly a drone, they punch the throttle and they fly directly into their fucking ceiling, and then they hit the ground because they can't get the throttle right. Then they punch it into the ceiling, and then they've got a broken drone. So if you can get your drone to hover in the sim, you can probably get it to hover in real life without breaking your drone right out the gate. So it might not feel perfect, but it'll definitely still get you there, and it'll get you that muscle memory as well. So you can learn to roll in a sim without rolling and breaking your drone. It might not feel perfect, but it'll get there, and it gets you a lot closer. I mean, every single person that I've ever seen that flew like 20 hours in the sim before they ever went out and flew great.
And that's kind of where I'm
doesn't.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with the sim, right? I'm at about 2 weeks of flying. God knows how many hours every day in the sim. And the big thing about the sim was what Caleb said, and this is what I found. When I was at Ken's place it here, he put me on the sim, and I had no feel for it. But I went home and started playing around with it. And kind of one of the first things you learn from a turning perspective is whichever way you're turning, you actually move both thumbs. You don't move just one thumb. You move both thumbs to do your turn. So part of using the sim is just getting the feel for sort of basic sorts of movements for just turning and not even so much up and down and that kind of stuff. You're literally just like initially just trying to not crash for the most part and figure out how to fly around things.
Yeah, and I mean, you really touched on it too, is that drones fly when they're in complete manual mode and it's not like a DJI. They fly completely different than what you'd expect. It doesn't fly like a plane. It doesn't fly like a car. It doesn't just, oh, I'm going to push left and it goes left. It's completely different world, and it takes a little bit to really get that feel. Once you do get it, though, it kind of clicks, and then you're just working on getting that like dialed in. But yeah, I mean, realizing that, you know, you're tilted forward. So if you yaw left, you're actually doing like this weird curve thing. You're not just going left like you would think. Because to do that, you actually have to add a little bit of roll so that you're yawing and rolling at the same time.
At the same time, yeah.
Yeah, and that's like one of the hardest parts other than the throttle control for people to get. And you really just need to have that kind of click in at some point. Otherwise, it's just really hard.
The part that really, I think, makes it click is when you start sort of in your head, sort of visualizing the drone and the lean that's in the drone and kind of which way it's facing. And once you can kind of get that in your head, then the stick movements start making a hell of a lot more sense. That's what kind of turned on for me the one day.
Yeah, that's pretty much
Rob,
exactly it. That's kind of that click that I say.
What, Ron?
I'm using liftoff.
Liftoff. Okay.
Yeah.
Now I haven't messed around with these sims in maybe 5 years, but I'm on Mac and I couldn't get any of them to work well on a Mac 5 years ago. But I know I'm talking H history now. I did try the sim, DJI's own sim that you could run on the RC Pro controller. I mean, it was a nice little sim, but it was so easy. Like, you know, like it, you know, I flew like I was a master FPV pilot the first time I did it. So I just got it that this is very useful.
Yeah, the DJI one is pretty simple. I mean, DJI's, you practically don't have to fly them though, right? So it's just a different world of flying. I do know that a lot of them work really well with the Mac now, so you could give it another try. My favorite liftoff is supposed to have pretty good Mac support.
Okay, good.
As far as the earlier question of which ones are the best, liftoff is always my favorite. Velocidrone is usually other people's favorite. And then
I know one to stay away from because it's the one that I started with, and I started going through its training thing, and then I got stuck, and then I was like, and that's Drone Racing League.
The DRL.
The DRL, yeah.
It blew from the beginning.
Yeah, people
how
say
much?
that one.
How much do
good,
these
but
gyms simply basically cost? Are they a one-time buy, or do you pay subscription a month?
they're
one-time thing.
Most of them are $10 to $20.
Okay.
Yeah. Liftoff was $19.99 on Steam when I bought it, and they have sales on there all the time. So,
Right. How much of sale do you need with selling $19.99?
Freerider is a pretty popular one. There's a new one that just came out a little while ago that I really like just because it's fun, but that is Trip FPV, TRYP FPV, and that's just fun because it has really good graphics because it's running on Unreal Engine 5, and you can chase cars and hang gliders and parachutists and motorcycles off ramps, and I don't know, it's a lot of fun.
And
But
the
it
one that Dan
doesn't
recommended
feel
told
right.
me that I actually got, but I haven't flown it. I need to go fly it uncrashed.
Yeah, Uncrashed is the other one. It's kind of like Trip
Open
FPV.
world.
Yeah, it's like a big open world thing, and you got stuff you can follow and things. But again, it just doesn't feel very accurate to me. I know I just griped about how like everybody says they don't feel as accurate, but those ones literally just don't have the physics dialed in yet. As much as like Liftoff, which has been around since like 2018 or 17 or something now.
Maybe that's the one I tried back in the day. Hey, Rod, with Liftoff, can you use the DJI FPV controller with
Sure.
Liftoff?
Yeah, 100%.
Oh, good.
I have that controller. I haven't plugged it in yet, but I know you can use it. Hey, Bill,
Okay.
if you want to share that.
Hey, Nemo's saying he runs all the sims on his Mac.
So this was
Velocidrone and
was
Uncrashed.
me today. So you have to realize I'm less than 2 weeks in of working this thing on the sim. And
Didn't you
kinda
show
doing
one of
this
these last week too, though?
Yeah, well, this is
Yeah, you're already way better than
that
last
was
week.
day 2. That was day 2. This is like a week plus later.
I can tell. Another
you,
thing
you
that's
can
really
tell.
cool,
I can hit gaps. You'll see. I do a few flips. Well, rolls, not flips.
that huge field of view with the fisheye. still feels-
Finally.
There's the flip for you. Or
Now,
no,
Rod,
the
this
roll.
is using
Sorry.
the DJI FPV controller.
I'm using Zorro, Radio Master Zorro.
Okay.
What's up, gentlemen?
Hello.
Mikey, I blame Mikey because
Hello,
Mikey
Michael.
helped Ken set up my drone with my DJI goggles, and then I started doing the sim. And now he's been trying to drag me in on the sim on the multi. That's the thing with Liftoff too. It has rooms, so you can do group flying.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know-
it's pretty fun.
You
One
know,
thing real-
fly. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say one thing real quick about like all the Sims 2 that we haven't really mentioned that can really help is it can help you learn to tune your rates and your PIDs. So rates are really like how the drone controls, and everybody really should know how to tune those and change them to the way that feels best for them.
Yeah.
And that's something that can be really tough to do with a regular drone right out of the box too, especially if you don't know it.
Yeah.
And the sim will give you a lot of room to be like, oh, okay, so I can add more expo to
One-
my throttle, and all of
I'll
a sudden
add
it's
one
easy to
more
hover.
thought to that. I'll add one more thought to that one too. The camera angle. Learn which camera angle
Yeah.
to use.
Okay, wait a minute. Did
Yeah.
you see this? Here's a question right here. God Bless America is asking, is this a video game that has sticks to flies? No, you need a fairly expensive controller or a cheaper video game controller, which will not give you the true training that they're explaining that you need.
Yeah.
So you would need a lower end FPV controller in order to play this game. And then I saw what Justin said. I said, this is what happens when the Pong generation tries to play modern games. And I thought that was hilarious. I thought that was good. All right.
So, anyways, for only being a little less than 2 weeks in, yeah, I feel like I'm doing okay.
Yeah.
It's
good.
like, it's like, I feel like I could definitely, that's the end of it. I feel like I could definitely go out and like finally throw mine up in the air and like not immediately crash.
How hard is it to get started on these sims, Rod?
Not bad. If you've not played it all, I shouldn't say I haven't played it all. It's 2 weeks on Liftoff. I had done some playing around on the DRL. I guess the one thing I will say about the DRL, although I will say it's a little goofy, but if you don't understand the motions of the sticks with FPV, the little training mode about the first 4 flights on DRL, where they kind of show you maneuvering and what does what kind of thing.
There's a beginner's part of it.
There's a beginner's part.
Okay.
That is probably not bad.
That's $60 isn't too bad.
No, that's not bad.
Mm-mm. And the
No,
reason
you can
I
buy
said,
some inexpensive ones,
like
for
Maddie
sure.
was like, he was like, no, invest. And I'm like, well, okay, here's the thing. A lot of people might love FPV to death, but then they realize once they put on some goggles and start that they can't. Like I have trouble with motion sickness, and to this, people told me, "Oh, push on through." And it just depends on what day of the week it is. Some days I can fly fine, and it doesn't phase me at all. And other days, man, it's just like
that's
Yeah.
why that was one of the reasons why I never got into it, and one of the reasons that got me so bloody interested with the Avata and the goggles too, and the diopters, because I have a really nasty stigmatism. So once with the Avata, once I figured out that I could really see in the goggles, then that got me interested in, once they released that 03 air unit for the FPV stuff, to go, you know, I'd love to buy an 03 FPV drone and use it with my goggles, because I know the goggles work, because the goggles I can see fine with the Avata. So that's where the Avata became that stepping stone.
This is what's so funny.
Which goggles do you own, Rod?
The goggles too.
The goggles.
See, this is what's so funny. See what Gary's saying? Go ahead and build a 6S quad right off the bat and start flying it. So guaranteed,
don't worry about it, Tim,
guaranteed you fuck up your loosened appendages.
Just get it out of the way.
So the Avata for me was that stepping stone to sort of make sure that I could see in the goggles, didn't have disorientation, all that kind of stuff. And then it was like, okay, now I'm probably ready, or now I'm interested in, you know, looking at sort of a true FPV, especially with the 03 air unit.
Oh yeah, he's saying that they're saying the DJI
Rod, there's a
controller
question
works
for you in
too.
the chat.
No, Maddie, I have the Radio Master Zorro ELRS.
DJ!
Yeah, you don't have the DJI radio for the Avata, right?
I do. I've not
This is a great
connected it,
radio
but I
too,
do
bro.
have it.
So I
is a
think
great
that's what he's
radio.
saying, is because you can connect that to
Yeah, you
receivers
can.
as well.
Yeah.
Which controller is that,
Sure, you
Michael?
could use the Avata.
This
as
is the
your
Radio
FPV.
Master Boxer. Radio Master Boxer. This thing
That's
is
nice.
killer.
How much?
It's got a sim in here too. You
How
can
much?
play like on the road. This is $129.
Well, that's not that bad, really.
No, and it's got
Yeah, it's
built-in
really
Express LRS in it.
Yeah,
Built-in
and those are good
Express.
radios.
Okay, how
I mean,
much is
look,
it?
So on
I
the
should have
same side that
recruited
everybody-
you.
what was
I
that?
should have used you when you were down here to help me get this this bound up with this little
Oh.
guy.
I'll do it next
yeah.
time. I will hook you up next time when we're down
That's
there.
a cool radio.
But-
too.
And
Maddie's over
actually, that's a really good piece of advice, because when I set mine up, I went up to Ken's at Place It Here,
Yeah.
and had him help me, right? Versus me sort of learning all that software just to get the drone connected so that I can at least start flying around. And Mikey helped us, by the way.
I spent
We
a
got
few
Mikey.
hours on it, and I just said, "Put my hands up. I got so much
Yeah. So
do.
find a
There's a
friend in the neighborhood who has
I got a
done it,
DX
has set them
too, so.
and bound them and that kind of stuff, who can kind of help jumpstart you, right?
Yeah,
At
there's
least
still
get
so
you
much out there
going.
right now that if you don't have a mentor when you're first learning the FPV stuff, it's really, really tough. There's just too much info out there.
Right.
I mean,
One of the
this is a
things
little
about
lead
buying like a
650.
really crappy radio though, so you can go buy a $40 radio and it'll work just fine for the sim. And if you decide you like it, yeah, go get a nicer radio. And the thing about telling people, well, just buy a really, really expensive one, and if you don't like it, sell it. You can sell the crappy radio too, you guys. Otherwise, you can be like me and not know what you're doing and go buy a $350 piece of crap that doesn't work for almost anything.
It's true.
So,
That's how we
that's
started.
not
We
really
started
always
with-
the best
I
way to go.
started. Yeah, I started with a crappy
Is that
radio.
what that was?
Maddie knows. We all started with crappy radio.
And I guess
Mine's
the,
sick.
the best piece of advice on what signal, right, would be get something that's ELRS, because that's the strongest signal at the moment. That's
Yeah. TBS is good too.
Yeah, I mean, I like the Tango, but it just doesn't have the same stick. It doesn't have enough resolution in the sticks for me, to be honest with you.
Crossfire is obviously still really good too if you get that
Yeah.
stuff. But if
Yeah,
you're
that's-
jumping in and you have nothing, I would start with ELRS.
Oh, yeah, it's cheaper. With the price of Crossfire, let's see, you could buy 3 receivers. Because the receivers are a lot more money for Crossfire. So the price you pay for the receivers at Crossfire, you can buy 3 Express LRS receivers. Well, it depends what you want. There's ones that are like $15, $13, $11. You can get receivers Express LRS. Like my Beta FPV one cost me like $12. They're cheap, man.
Yeah, all the open stuff is way cheaper,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just better. It's being worked on more.
Yep.
And then-
Okay. What about UARTs? What are UARTs?
UARTs are channels on there's UARTs are the channels that you pick on your flight controller. So if you want to wire up a let's say Express LRS receiver, you got to pick a certain UART. You can't solder to the same UART. So if you're on UART 1, stick with UART 1 with, if you're going to put, Crossfire, Express LRS, if you want to put a camera, each UART has a specific place for whatever you're putting on there, like a camera. So you know what I mean. Camera goes to a different UART. Express LRS goes to a different UART.
It's like a serial port
Channel. Like each channel has their own.
It's a data channel.
Yeah,
I need new glasses. I could have sworn TJ said dildo stick.
So, Mikey, I am going to need help because I actually, and Ken told me he didn't I don't know, whatever. I need to figure out how to, in beta FPV, move the things around because he says the telemetry.
Oh,
because
the
it's
OSD.
He says you got to figure out which UART it's on or something.
Wait, telemetry for what?
On the goggles.
On the goggles. Oh, you want to move you want to get OSD.
Yeah, I want to move the different
goggles?
things. Yeah.
Okay. You have what? B2s?
My 30-year-old kid.
No, the goggles too.
You got the goggles too.
Yeah. But you do that in beta. You do that in beta FPV.
You mean beta flight?
Or sorry, beta flight.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
beta
you
flight.
can't. I'm not sure about the G2s. I mean, G2s. I think they got their own. You're using the O3 air unit.
Yeah, O3.
Okay, I'm not sure. Like my B2s, I have. I'm using the Cadix, the Vistas and stuff like that.
Sure.
And I'm using WTFOS. Did my light just go out? Yeah. So WTFOS I'm using, and you have to do an upgrade to your goggles and your Vista in order to get like the full canvas mode of the whole OSD canvas thing. But I don't know if that's what you're looking for. If you're looking for the full OSD or just the certain OSD that
I just want to move the elements around.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's easy. I can show you how to do that. Because
the Sunalog, the name of the drone is a little too high in my eyesight. I actually want to put it right down on the bottom.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's just
move a few things around. On
yeah, it's easy. You just go in there and move stuff around. I don't know. Maybe yours is not popping up or something.
Yeah, Rod,
it had the default settings when Kim put it on there.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll help you.
So,
Caleb,
I had one a while ago where my my OSD would show everything but the battery. That was fun.
Yeah.
Actually, that's a good question.
The learning curve.
The
man.
voltages. What is considered low on? I guess on which battery? 1S, 2S, 4S, 6S. What's the low voltage that you should be looking for on your battery?
So the S, it doesn't really matter the cell count if you go on the cell voltage. So cell voltage, if it hits like 3.6, 3.5, you should be landing. 3.2 is where you're starting to deal damage to your batteries.
Got it.
Yeah, I mean, generally, so my Cinewhoops, if I'm hitting 3.6, it's going to start falling out of the air pretty quick. 3.4, and it can't even stay in the air. Granted, it doesn't have the best tune, and it's super heavy because it's a Cinewhoop. But yeah, basically 3.2 is your battery is dead. Not dead, like completely dead, but like it's not going to do anything for you anymore.
Yeah.
With my 6S, I think it's like 22 in your wanting land.
Yeah, you gotta take care of your batteries, man. Dude, LiPo batteries are the most dangerous thing in your FPV gear, bro.
Yeah, that is something to be well aware of. Even DJI batteries have still been known to pop, even though it's super, super rare. So, I mean, don't ever leave your batteries charging unattended. It's a recipe for your house to go down. That's all it is.
Yeah.
I know three guys, 4 incidents, and they had fire with lipos.
Dude, John Coopy had one. Remember,
remember, Bill?
He had one. He showed pictures. It was not good.
One guy forgot to put the balance charger on. The other guys were just left him on the charger. One guy had it on his bed, and the battery heated up and caught the bed on fire.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I keep telling Sergio, my brother, like, I don't know. I'm against parallel charging. You know, a little parallel board. You could put all your batteries to it. I'm against that. It's not worth for me. I'm not risking it. You know what I'm saying? To burn my house down or whatever. One by one, or if you have a multi-charger, it's got 2 of them in there. Just do it like that, because I don't know. A lot of these parallel charge boards are causing problems.
I've got the Race Day Quad guys got me the Hoda D6 that charges 2.
Yeah, there's a lot of good chargers out there. The parallel boards you do want to be really careful with. There are a lot that cause problems. I do use a parallel board, but it's an ISDT board with 2 inbuilt fuses in it. So it's pretty safe for the most part. And I mean, I just watch my batteries pretty vigilantly when I charge them. I mean, you just have to be kind of careful. And I mean, yeah, all it takes is a slip on that charger to burn everything down. I mean, I talked to a guy just the other day who he accidentally scrolled to 5S instead of 4S.
Nemo.
So that charged it tried to charge extra. And yeah, that burst his battery. And those lipo fires are no joke either. I mean, if your battery is pretty well charged and you punch a hole in it with a nail, you can get like a 5-foot flame that'll last like 4 minutes. Like that's gonna burn something down. It's not
those are hard to put out. They just keep going, dude.
Oh my God, I can't believe you gave a bunch of rednecks ideas.
We need to go out to the range. Come on down.
I mean, if you want something that'll create a little fire,
got plenty of lipo
15,
batteries and a lot of nails.
That's an expensive. I can make TNT for cheaper than that.
Yeah,
I have one of those pin nailers. That's like the micro gauge. I don't even like millimeter, and you can trigger it. So you can shoot that, and it sticks in the wall. Probably could do that with a battery or 2.
Yeah.
Hey, Andrew,
Okay, maybe you can answer a question for me. So my charger, I have the X30 to X60 because it's X60 ports on the charger, and it's got this extra little plug on the side, but it is not. It's not that pin out. Should that be plugged in as well with an adapter into the charger?
Well,
the little white plug. The little white plug.
That's for balance charging. So you want to.
Okay, so that's on the board. That's on the boards, right?
See, now they're coming up with variations, man. What the fuck?
On your multimeter charger, there should, if you have one of those that have that, where you can balance charge it. You hook that up. That's what, a 4-cell.
I would need it. I would need an adapter. Yeah, this is a 4S from Race Day Quads.
Yeah, you would put it into a 4S input on your multimeter. You plug that in the 4S, and then you hook up.
Yeah, well, mine doesn't have that. Mine has like.
This is my controller rod.
Mine has like 8 plugs, and this is like 6. So I don't know if they make an adapter.
So
Ron has a DJ
that would work on the
Go ahead,
charger?
Ron. Yeah, so that'll work on that'll work on the
that'll work on the sim.
Yeah, that would work. Yeah,
And it will also fly not only the Avata, but the DJI FPV drone also.
Yes, it will.
There you go.
So,
I got
is yours more like that? Is that what you're saying? It's too big?
Yeah.
So
exactly.
you just put it to the furthest to the left. So this is your diagram.
Furthest to the left.
Yeah.
Ooh, here you go. Here's your question.
So you can see 2S, 3S, 4S, 5S. So
Okay,
it's just
let me go get the
pin for
charger, I'll
extra
show you.
cell.
Wait a minute. Show me do that again. Do that again, Caleb.
Dude, it looked like I was walking into the water.
I don't know what wants. There
There
you
we
can
go.
sit there. There you go. Oh wow! All the way up to 8S. Damn.
Yeah, this is the parallel charger I use,
Yeah.
and I use it with this.
That's a
guy.
good one. That's a good
It does
one.
look like a good charger.
Yeah, I
that
don't
one.
screw around with that. Like he said, parallel chargers can be dangerous. So I just
Yeah.
get the best you can.
I got that one.
All right, hang on.
Yeah, this guy's awesome. This is a great charger. It's also got
Yeah.
USB ports for you.
screen
So it's
screen's
to the
fucking with it.
left.
Yeah, the Hoda. Hodas are good.
Yeah, this is the Hoda. Race
Yeah.
Day Quads told me get this one. Okay. Since I know nothing about them, I called them.
Where's
So
it at?
furthest to the left, then is what you said.
Hey, Max is here.
Yeah, Dale's got the
DJI
dangerous one
sucks.
right
DJI
there.
sucks.
buy it.
Don't buy it or sell it.
Dale's showing you what not to buy.
Oh, wait. Oh, yeah. That's from like who am I wanting to say? The ones here in Seattle. Who are they? Fuck, what are they? Who are they, Dale?
I think this came from Venom.
Thank you. I knew there were. I was wondering about
Yeah,
that.
those chargers are like
Progressive
$2.
sells a lot of shit like that.
But what's cool from that I have from Venom, I don't know. This is kind of cool.
Anyways, the Hodas are
Battery
supposed to keep
checker.
you from like burning the batteries.
Oh,
So-
Maddie says that Hoda is the best on the market.
Yeah,
yeah, pretty much.
I think so.
Like I said,
Curtis has
the
a
idea
Pro
is
Duo.
it's supposed to keep you from frying the battery.
So Dale, my version of that.
Johnny D in the house.
Okay.
Johnny,
No, I'm good. That's the one piece that I forgot to place it here when I left his house.
That's my version of that, Dale.
I got that too.
Yeah. I mean, they're great. You got to be able to check your batteries.
Yeah.
Little $2 buzzers.
Well, the other thing about the Hoda is you can put it on it and do the discharge, right?
Yeah, you can discharge, you can balance, you can do all sorts of stuff with those. They're really nice.
Storage
Now I
and
need
all
to
that.
go put mine and do it as balance because I didn't have it plugged in.
Man, I'm going to tell y'all something. In the next probably 10, well, no, not that long. Probably the next 5 years, you're going to have smart lipos for FPV quads. It's going to be the same.
Dude, that would
Then
be,
I'm
that,
in,
that
Bill.
would be so sick.
I don't see why not, honestly.
I mean,
People
it
would
doesn't
pay a couple extra bucks for it.
exactly. It
Probably.
makes a lot of sense. Let them self-discharge everything, and it wouldn't be that big of a deal. You wouldn't be really adding a whole shitload more to it, would you? I don't think so.
Not
Probably
really.
the reason right now that we're not doing that is because everybody is so obsessed with keeping weight down to as minimal as
That's
possible.
right. That's
I
right.
mean, we're cutting off little pieces of rubber to save 0.001 grams. So you give me a smart battery and it weighs 2 extra grams, we're going to say, screw you. I need that extra 5 seconds of flight.
Absolutely.
So that you can put that remote ID on it.
Oh,
I'm sure
What?
we'll all do that.
Wait, what's that?
I wonder how
He's
much
like,
that
"What?"
board. I wonder how much that
like,
board's
"What?"
going to weigh.
How much does a 6S battery weigh by itself?
Yeah, they're heavy.
6S, I'm sure it's heavy.
That's what I
So
said.
this drone, which is my Cinelog 20, is about 140 grams. And I
Uh-huh.
think with the 4S battery on it, it's like 200 grams total.
That thing is so.
So I'm
cute.
under remote. I'm under remote ID weight. Remote ID in
nice.
this drone, I don't care.
Nice.
Thing's so.
That was
tiny.
one of the reasons I got this drone.
As long as you're flying purely for fun.
The other reason I got this drone is we have these things called hurricanes down here, and I wanted something small enough that I could toy around with inside the house.
Oh, I thought you were going to
wow.
go fly it in a hurricane and watch it go.
No.
130
Okay.
grams.
These guys are 208 grams.
Oh, holy shit.
Yeah.
Is that a 6S, Caleb?
Yeah, this is my 6S, and it's a little bit heavier. It's meant for the big Cinewhoop, so you could obviously go quite a bit lower, but yeah.
That was an Avonic, right? Avonic had it.
What if you could program the smartness of your batteries? More or less, you could set the limits on what the discharge was, all that shit. And then it would be what a programmable smart battery. I mean, I would, that's what I was kind of inferring because of the different variations potentially that you have with so many different FPV quads. You would need a smart battery that you could discharge and shut. You could probably set the C rates and stuff too on a smart battery as long as you understood it, right?
There's modules like that, Bill, but it adds weight and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
So do you get one for each battery that you fly when you go out and fly and you got 8 batteries?
I
mean,
think that
I'm
we're going to
sure-
get.
I'm sure
more
Caleb
powerful.
thinks a lot about that much on a commercial
Here's
job.
the other part. Battery technology is changing like daily because of EVs, right? Autos and everything else. There's going to be in 5 years from now, the battery technology will be completely different.
Oh yeah, things are changing for sure.
the composition, what it's made of, density. You know, Samsung, and it's probably coming in the S24, if not the S25 for sure. They've got a way to stack the cells now, so they can get about 10% more capacity in the exact same size. So there's manufacturing technology, there's sort of chemical technology differences, material technologies. Yeah, this
So on
all
the
kinds of stuff.
Empire 3, they changed it to lithium cobalt batteries.
I saw that.
That's the only one that I know is different, but
And
on a
Toyota is working on that freaking solid state battery for their
Yep.
EVs.
Yeah, all that.
Oh wow.
I still want to know how the Avata gets so much out of their lipo.
Well, we're
That
talking
22%
about just
lifetime's crazy.
batteries. We're acting like that the motors will never improve.
The motors will a little bit, the props will a little bit, but we've had the same motors for what, 50 years now. I mean, you're not going to change
brushless
that much for a while.
brushed versus brushless. I don't know how much more you're gonna, other than efficiency of the electronics.
Yeah, exactly. We'll get the efficiency up a little bit higher, but motors are pretty much the way they work right now. I mean, you're not going to change the magnets and make them work a lot better. But yeah, I mean, the battery tech gets crazy. I'm not really sure why we don't have more graphene batteries right now. For a while, graphene batteries were all the hotness with FPV because you could get a little bit more burst out of them. They didn't sag as much.
Maybe the one thing on the prop, God, that one weirdo triangle thing. Oh, God, I forgot the name of that prop.
The toroidal.
Yeah, that thing.
Nah.
Yeah, those.
I don't know. Yeah, that's where I'm kind of interested. Not even the toroidal, but the zip line drone. That prop isn't even. It's not regular prop. It's like that.
Yeah.
It's at some weird angle and it doesn't even go straight. But that's supposed to like cut up the prop wash after the other prop goes through it or something like that to make it quieter and more efficient. So I mean, people are definitely trying a lot of different things right now. So that is somewhere where I would imagine there will be.
And it's only going to advance a lot more because of what's gone on in Ukraine and Russia. The military spending on drone stuff and drone technology is going to go through the roof. So it'll be interesting to see how much of that ends up in the consumer side.
Yeah, I mean, it is possible that props won't really change that much. You know, there's a reason that the military used them the way they were for hundreds of years. Well, not hundreds, but
1903. So, I mean,
it's a hard thing. But I mean, science is just one of those things where once there's a breakthrough, things change real quick. So who knows? We could be completely wrong and they develop some 4-bladed prop that has mini props inside of it and it cuts up the air perfectly and it's half silent and twice as efficient.
Or has no props and runs off of, like UFOs, runs off of electromagnetic something. It just hovers with no props.
You mean real UFOs?
Yeah, real UFOs. Yeah.
The magnet industry will get so good that we will actually assign your drone to a Starlink satellite and we'll just pull it towards the satellite.
Yeah. Could be.
Rod, they want to see you fly your 6S 5-inch FPV rig.
Well, I was talking the other day at at one of our classes that we're doing at the college with some of the guys that apparently work with some of the people that just beamed energy from space for the first time. They beamed it down and actually flew a drone with it. And it was super cool. So basically the drone was in this little boxed area. And as long as it was in that area, it was getting energy from the sky and it could fly. And as soon as it went out of that area, it just dropped to the ground completely dead.
They've been heavily working on that for solar tech to put solar in orbit and beam the energy down.
Yep.
That tech is coming fast.
Yeah, I mean, it was years ago when I was seeing that they had like fluorescent lights that could charge your phone. You just leave your phone on your desk, and they were using some sort of photonic technology. That was really interesting, but it didn't seem to go very far.
You can do the same thing just with power lines. Technically, if you're within a couple of feet of the high tension power lines, it'll charge stuff. It's just like wireless charging on your phone.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's interesting. because we're the most efficient ever.
Yeah, but who'd want to give away free power?
So if I just go up to the power lines out there and I put a little circle around one of them that just constantly leaches energy, then it's free energy, yeah.
Apparently.
Until somebody else goes up there and looks at it and says, "Hey, what the fuck is this? And why is it connected to ground?"
Yeah. There's a few out there. A few cases where people got in trouble.
I bet there is.
So anyways, back to the RC thing. My argument is not low cost, high cost. Whatever you use the one that you're going to fly with. Whatever that is, know what you want to fly with, buy one of those and use that in the sim to start out with.
Yeah, your muscle memory will match perfectly that way.
Yes.
And another thing too is you can actually take the black box logs from your real drone. Like you can go out and fly your real drone for a few minutes, bring it back in, and you can plug that into liftoff, and it'll actually tune your drone that way and liftoff. Give you an even closer experience to your real drone.
Oh, did you know, Caleb? Did you know you can play the liftoff with your digital goggles, the DJI V2s?
No, I didn't.
My brother Sergio did it. Motherfucker. Oh, sorry, my language, but he
plugged it into the other USB port.
He got it up. He got it going. No, it's something he had to do. There was a hack. I don't know where he got it from. I think it was
interesting.
I still have to do mine, but he got it.
Motherfucker, did you just say motherfucker?
So hey,
we got demonetized again, Bill.
So he puts the goggles on, and you can see liftoff in your goggles, like you're flying outside.
Sure.
Just to get that real feel, you know.
Yeah.
And I was shocked when he did it. Pretty cool.
So
yeah,
I will.
Cool. It's not super necessary. I mean,
no, it's not.
The flying's going to be the same either way.
I will say this though. I got semi lucky. Of course, I don't know how accurate it is, but anyways, there was. So you can go in and there are guys that have created quads for liftoff that you can go in and download them off Steam. I found one that supposedly is the Cinelog 20 and installed that and been flying with that. So
yeah, I got mine.
Theoretically, it should be close to my real drone.
Yeah.
I don't know how accurate the guy was. So I guess I'll find out when I start flying.
Just change your rates. Just put the rates that you want. Try to see if
He tried to balance it for the weight and the power and all that stuff that the Cine has.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, just change if it's the same as yours, and just change your rates and they're to what you fly. That's all. You get to fly with your quad.
Yeah, if you allow silence, you have to do a super chat, right? So if you
Walk
curse,
Snail is taking over. Maybe.
Walk Snail.
Yeah, did you see their new goggles, Bill?
I know. Yeah, I think
Yeah,
Gary showed them.
awesome.
I think Gary showed them to me. I do think so.
Pretty cool looking. Remind me of the 80s theme, the Knight Rider in a way.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Or Cylons. You know where they had that little.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the other part of FPV, right? We were talking about ELRS, Crossfire, Free Sky. That's the radio protocol. Then you have the whole video protocol.
Yep. Yeah, so there's all the analog video protocols, and then there's a few. Is there a few or just the two? There is a few. There's a few digital protocols out there, and yeah, Walk Snail is basically like the LRS of video.
Mm-hmm.
So I imagine that will get better and become probably better than DJI at some point. But for now, DJI is still just kind of the standard.
That 03 that's on the Avata and that camera, that's hard to beat.
Yeah, the 03 is good. Well, DJI is always good with their cameras. See, here's the thing, though, Caleb. I don't know if you are with me on this, but you heard that DJI is coming out with new goggles. They're called Goggles X, right? Didn't you hear
Avinox. Avinox was the name.
Yeah, Avinox.
But I seen an article where it said DJI Goggles X, and it says Avinox, yeah. But it said they had an X, had a big X in it, like
I believe it.
And now Walksnail comes out with Goggles X, so I'm like, I'm really
NV 902. So the Goggles 2 were 900, the Integras were 901, and this new one is 902, and it's been registered in China, according to the article that was on Drone XL.
Yeah,
I
man,
kind
that
of
was a
remember
while
that
ago.
article now. I think that Goggles X for DJI was just their code name for it, wasn't it?
That's what, yeah,
Avinox may be the
that's
code name.
maybe X for short. I don't know.
Sure.
Maybe everybody just wants to release something called X now and jump on the
What the heck?
Elon Musk
What a
bandwave.
way to confuse the people, man. Like, dude.
Look how well Twitter's going down. Let's also name our product
Yeah,
X.
exactly.
I mean,
dude.
come on, you got DJI goggles, you got DJI goggles 2, and then DJI goggles V2.
Yeah, people are getting confused with that. Absolutely.
That's fair.
Yeah,
DJI is
that
not
was
doing
probably
very well
one of
for
their
naming
more
conventions.
stupid
The RC Pro, the
naming schemes.
RCN1, the RCN1 Pro, or whatever.
That was crazy, dude. How they
In 2 now, RCN2.
Yeah. Who
Pick
gets
names.
paid to make up all these names over DJI?
But shouldn't we go W next?
No, it should be Y. We have X. We need to go to Y.
It's Max's fault.
No,
Ron.
we don't
They
have
pay-
a DJI X
they-
yet.
They
Shouldn't it
pay
be
Max on the side.
W?
They pay Max on the side to come up with the name.
They have V's, the V1 and V2s. So let's go W.
Okay, I can.
DJI W goggles.
Like Goggles W.
Goggles W.
Hey, Bill, I'm sending you a picture here. This was one of DJI's initial naming schemes for the Matrice 100, but it was before they realized there was actually other drones named Matrix.
Sergio! Hang on, I'm getting to it.
Surge.
Yeah, they like their M's, don't they? Matrice, Mavic.
Well,
Well,
and
good
that
here
was
too, Bill.
supposed to be something else too. I think it was supposed to be Maverick, and then they changed it. So that was our box that we got back in 2014 or 2015.
Oh, he's calling DJI out. Lloyd, I see Lloyd's here, but yeah, look, Gary's calling DJI out.
Eat their lunch.
Curtis, did
Is
you
he
put
calling
your link up?
DJI out, or is it the other way around?
I know that Dale shared it in our other chat, but did he put it in the audience in the chat? And did he put it in there, Dale? Did you see him put it?
Not
in
that
there?
I know of, no.
Really,
Curtis,
Maddie?
post
But-
your bomber video in the chat, please. The link. I don't mind showing it, but I want everybody to have access to it before we put it up here.
One of the things that's really going to push the walk snail game, though, is that DJI stopped their deals with CatX and Vista and all them. So now, if all the third-party developers can't do stuff with DJI, they're just going to jump to walk snail. Why wouldn't you? I mean, they're not going to stop producing visual transmitting units.
They were that. Maddie said that they were his. He tried the G2s and they were really bad on his nose. He couldn't breathe. I mean, the Integras. That's crazy.
We got the brothers, but I wouldn't call them the Sergio brothers.
RDQ's got a
I
different
have
set.
the
Got a
Integra
different.
goggles, and I have no issues with my nose on them.
Really?
I know.
Yeah,
I know that I hear the nose thing all
It
the time,
depends.
but it goes from person to person.
You
it
probably
doesn't
got a
play
smaller.
pressure in my
You
nose.
probably got a smaller nose, Ron, than Maddie. Maddie's got a big old nose, probably. You know.
I got to the plastic surgeon before Maddie, huh? And got that
Yeah.
fixed.
I'm sure the others, but I ordered some new padding. It's not really the hard foam; it's the soft padding from Race Day Quads for my goggles too. Those feel great. No issues with the nose thing at all.
Curtis, did you write the
A little
music?
less fogging issues. Just comfortable.
Did he say yes or no? Curtis, did you write the music yourself, or is it copyrighted? And you can Andrew, you can use their stage last name, Toto. Because their Italian name is a little bit longer.
So actually, Sergio, was that okay for like 2 weeks of being in the sim? I mean, I'm not doing the crazy stuff you do in the sim, but
Yeah, no, that's good.
Yeah.
Okay. So if when I share it, I have to do no audio. Where is it from? Epidemic or
How about it? Are you talking to me or are you talking to my brother Sergio?
no? I'm talking
You.
to Curtis. I'm
My
talking to
God.
Curtis because Curtis. Did you see in the chat rod. It's up there, and it would be cool to show. But I wanted to be able to show it, like he intended it. And I was trying to find out if it's epidemic, I can go ahead and show it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, just keep going, man. I seen it. I seen your
Ken's advice to me the first time I take mine up, the reeling up, go find a big open field.
Yeah.
with soft grass.
Okay.
That is
to
always
fly
the
in
best
the
way to do
first
it.
time.
Yeah, and throttle control is important. That's like the first thing too.
Did you notice in that video? That's something I was working on. You notice I went through the top and then I sort of dropped down and then went through the one on the bottom. And I was doing that to sort of practice the whole throttle control kind of thing to get that, to get better at doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, throttle control is one of the big ones.
Yeah. Like,
and I've been messing around with throttle control, like on turns and stuff. I'll like turn it off and then do the turn and then goose it to try to get my turn to be a little sharper. It's been messing with throttle control just to.
Have you played with your rates or expo at all, Rod?
No.
Throwing a little bit of throttle expo in there might help you even more.
Yeah, absolutely. It won't be so jumpy too.
Yeah, expo. That's one of the things I was saying. Like being able to find your perfect rates for you without doing it on the real quad is awesome. Because when you do it on the real quad, you're like, all right, I'm going to plug it into my computer. I'm going to open.
But that's also why to use the remote
thing,
in the sim that you're going to fly with for the same reason.
Yeah, it'll be a little bit different, but at least matching the rates. It really.
No. I'm just saying to get those rates right is going to depend on your radio in some ways and the gimbals and the feel and all of that kind of stuff.
A little bit, but most of it's going to come down to the actual flight controller. That'll change the way that the drone acts, no matter what controller you're using. So it's still a little bit more independent.
Dude, Curtis does a good job, doesn't he? Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he does. He does awesome.
What is this that we're watching?
They took, he's in ROVs now, and they found one underwater with one of the ROVs.
The predecessor to this video is a 15-minute short that said that they went to Lake Washington to find this bomber that was taken off from like Kent or wherever it is down there from the factory.
It's an hour long. Hang on.
Yeah. I was going to tell you that this is way long.
Where's my cursor, man?
Yeah, you found that B-24 underwater.
There it is.
But essentially, they know where it was, and they were able to go down and with the ROVs, a number of different ROVs, and get some footage of the bomber that crashed when it was trying to take off.
Is this it?
Maybe tried to salvage it, or they were going to try to pull it up, and then they couldn't, so they just left it.
I'll be right back.
Okay. Is this it right here?
There's a lot of footage here.
Yeah, it sure looks like it.
Yeah, it's that. The whole thing is that
engine right there.
Yeah.
Oh,
par for the course and late and anything in Washington.
I wonder how efficient that prop is.
I was going to say, see, those props just work.
They worked great all the way to the bottom.
Right.
Hey, fly all the way to Japan.
Oh, wait. What do we got here?
Well, actually, you have to remember that's the same plane that they flew off the Hornet, right? I think that was the B-24s, or was it the B-25s?
Oh, it's like that's gonna protect you from a bullet. No way, man, no way.
Plastic window there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is surprisingly clear.
I'm sure that had to be a lot of fun to do, to take those down in
the itty bitty boat that Curtis has.
Where's the tire? He said something about a tire. I was waiting to see the hula girl on the front. Oh, here we go. Yeah, still full of air.
Wow.
Let's back it up a little bit where it comes into it. Oh yeah. Well, now we know why the props aren't damaged. The tires are still full of air.
The top of the prop's not damaged. Doesn't mean the bottom of the prop is in good shape.
Right.
Okay, he needs to go back around and show us the front. Wait a minute. Here we go. Oh, well, yeah, I want to get to this. A lot of sediment, man. Still a really good picture considering how much sediment's there.
Yeah. Washington, everything's got green algae growing.
Is that a turret?
Yeah.
Damn, I don't think of it.
Yeah, one of the side turrets.
Still, though, I wouldn't want to be in that thing. Like, I'm the one firing at you. I'm here in this plastic windowed box.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. That's cool. Come up on this is pretty neat.
So that's the V Ego that he has up there. Then there's the V6S, and then there was a chasing M2 Pro Max, I think, too.
Oh, lots of rows in the water.
And Gladius Minis.
Oh. On one of the end of the wings.
That's pretty cool. $695.
Yeah.
That looked like that's the tail.
Yeah. Okay. I like the different perspectives. That's cool. Oh,
Telemarketer.
The WS. Washington State.
Not sure. It's amazingly well preserved, though, for being down there since the 40s.
Yeah, no kidding.
Cold water. Imagine that.
In Washington State?
How far down was it?
Not totally sure. 100 and some odd feet.
okay. Let me get back over here.
It's probably going to be 40-degree water.
Oh yeah, it's probably stays that cold
Yeah, exactly.
year round.
That's why things that end up on the bottom last for 100 years.
Hello,
Or
folks. Ron's going to tell everybody his good news, and he's going to go to bed a little early. He's kind of tired.
Yeah, I want to thank everybody for joining us in the chat tonight. Everybody in the panel, our special guest tonight, Michael from the fly
Zone.
Yeah, Fly Zone guys. Sorry. Great video by Curtis here, but I'm going to say my good nights, and I guess I'll be back next week for I got to be on with Gary Nemo next week. For the
Where
FPV
in the
panel.
world is Nemo Edwards?
I will bring my notepad and take notes next week. So
whoa, cool turret shot.
good night, everybody.
Night, Ron.
Hey,
Get
Ron.
some rest.
Yeah, that's the turret. That's the turret you probably didn't really want to be on.
There you
'cause
go.
That one was easy to hit because it was
It's-
on the
he-
tail.
Curtis has mentioned glacier-fed water.
And
Oh
150
God,
feet
it's really
down.
cold.
150 feet down.
That means it's really cold, so it's going to preserve it. a
Night,
long time.
Barkley.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Which means it's also probably not terribly acidic.
No, that's why you got all that flotilla floating in there.
Just lots of futuristic bacteria that we have no earthly idea how it will affect man. Even
I mean, the
after he
Titanic
reaches
went
the
down in
oil.
1912. It still looks in pretty decent shape down on the bottom. Of course, it's
Yeah, that's what
12,000
those guys
feet
said.
down.
Yeah, it looks like there's still weapons in the turret. Yes, it does look like they are still there.
Bump it.
Yeah, well, if it was taken off from manufacturing, it wasn't armed. So
Okay, we got 17 people here. 5 of them are us. Does anybody here play like role-playing games, because we were bullshitting in our little chat earlier, and we came up with a really, really cool idea. And so far, everybody's willing. I know Ron left, but we were. Does anybody here play Dungeons and Dragons? I know there's only 17 people left, but just answer the question: have you role-playing games? And then I'll take a little bit more.
Pretty much anybody our age, Bill, and a little bit older.
And Caleb's younger than us. Caleb's younger than us.
Actually, yeah, you're right. Younger have probably played.
Some of the younger people play it now too.
Yeah, it's still played.
They came out with a whole shitload of new books, man. They redid all the original books.
But it's almost all online
myself
now.
for giving up my original books.
I still have the original. I have the V1s by Gary Gygax. The originals.
Gary Gygax.
Yeah, him.
Ooh, what is that?
Including Bill.
Your leader.
The Fiend Folio.
Yeah, I remember that one. Unearthed Arcana. Remember that one?
Mm-hmm. Got that.
And the original pre-made dungeon modules, those were killer.
Mm-hmm.
Are we going out on a nope? We're still on the. We're not. Did we ever go out on the wing and I just missed it? Maybe the wings are actually gone. Ooh, man, there's some damage there.
Yeah, they were thinking maybe they tried to hook it up to pull it up and it just.
Yeah, I see.
Well, who knows how much damage occurred when it hit the water too? So
yeah.
I don't know if it
would be a little impact damage for sure.
That looks like a tear there, like a
rip. That.
What are we looking
at? They could have tried to hook it.
Huh? We're looking at a what is it? A
B-24 Liberator.
A World War II bomber that Curtis found underwater. When was it, Dale?
A couple weeks ago.
And he posted the link earlier. When you get a chance, Curtis, throw the link. Oh, whoop, I think he threw it up there again. Yeah, you see it right there, Mikey?
Yeah.
I gotta say, I love Curtis's intro, and it's Star Trek related, so sort of.
I can remember when Curtis told me he was going to make me an intro like 2 years ago. I'd love to play on Curtis's computer for a while, but something tells me I'd get shocked if I touched it.
There's groups that are going around trying to salvage the metal off of old sunken warships. And part of the reason that they're going after it is because we no longer make steel that hard.
Wow, that is so cool, man.
Oh, nice shot to end with. Killer shot to end with.
Little cockpit.
Yep.
Dude, that is
good shot.
Cool.
All right, very cool. Dude,
I love history.
Oh shit. I forgot that I didn't leave it up long enough, but he always has cool outros too. I don't have I don't know for sure what I'm like. Do you use Real Engine? Wait a minute, I got another one. What is this one? Ooh.
Hey Andrew,
hey Bill, you want to finish your thought about the whole Dungeons and Dragons thing?
No. The reason there was no volume on Curtis's, that's what I was asking him so much earlier for, was that his friend had written it and it was copyrighted. So we just had to bullshit through it. Okay, now did anybody, and everybody was, so let me be more specific. Does anybody ever played or interested in Dungeons and Dragons? Oh my God, Lloyd, you had all the books too? Did you have any pre-made modules?
I had some of the pre-made modules. I probably still got them. I have this big honking truck, plastic
here's
truck
the deal.
thing.
Caleb's willing to DM, right? Caleb's willing to DM. And he's willing to even create some kind of drone-themed dungeon for us to go through. So, with that being said,
oh my God, that's what that question was about today. I didn't realize that's why you were asking.
But we're going to do it. We're going to do it here and share it with everybody else while we're doing it. But like I said, it'll be drone related. but Caleb will have to do all the rolls. And of course, I guess I could roll for myself because I have my own set of dice. But it would be cooler. It would be fairer if Caleb rolled for everybody, because he would be that way. You know, he'd be completely unbiased, and he could be like. But like I was making a joke earlier when I was younger, and we would make up our own dungeons, and you would go like, you go into a treasure room full of gold and ornaments and all kinds of extravagant, and then you find the key that unlocks the room, but then everybody else is going, okay, I'm searching more chests. And then,
then a drone Karen pops up.
No, but here's what it was the DM would go, you find nothing. And then, okay, I'm searching the ornaments. You find nothing. I'm checking behind the tapestries. You find nothing. Oh, I guess that means we're on to the next room.
So, what's interesting about what you just described? You remember the original MUDs? That's the way those played.
I love those. There's still a couple.
That's literally what you had to do, right? Because there was no graphics. It was literally, okay, you walk into a room. I look left, you see blah. Or I look right.
And it was all up here. Everything was up here.
The original RPG games were exactly that.
Do you remember when that was one of the first shows that Tom Hanks got a break in? Mazes and monsters.
And you use graph paper to map out as you went, because that's how you figured out what it looked like.
Well, no, the DM had it usually done. He had the graph paper.
No. I'm saying the original MUD games on computers.
Okay. But I'm just talking about
those original RPGs that were literally just all text-based was literally that. You look left. What do I see?
Like I said,
what do I see?
Is that Charles's stuff? I think Charles and them do something kind of like that, but I don't know for sure what he's going to come up with, but we would do it. It probably, I don't know. You'd have to make it kind of a relatively something that we could do in an hour and 30 minutes, I guess.
We'll figure something out. Bill's going to be like, I take off with the Mavic 3, and I'm going to be like, all right, what'd you roll, Bill? He's going to be like a 4. Be like, all right, you forgot to check for LANC. The cops are on their way.
That would be great.
And then, like Dale was saying, he'll be like, all right, the cops have showed up. Roll your perception. All right, well, you didn't get a good perception. So the Karen got to walk up to the cop first, and she rolled a really high charisma and deception score. So,
oh, my God. You're dangerous, Caleb. You are dangerous.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You forgot to charge. You roll a 3. You forgot to charge your batteries fully.
Yeah, you get back to town. You forgot one of the batteries was on the charger. Your house is burned down. You've burned down the tavern, and the entire town is out for your blood. I left another link for him to do in the private chat. It's a really cool video from the VFX artist that I super, super love called Corridor Digital. And they did another video with the Inspire 3 using it as a motion control camera. So they do a bunch of really cool VFX tricks with it, and it is awesome. I'm hoping that Bill will play that when he comes back so you guys can see it.
I've seen a few of those. They're pretty awesome on that.
It's so cool.
I don't know how to do it, Caleb, with that footage that I got.
I'm glad we did tonight, because I got a couple of my questions answered. Although cool. I do have one more. So is it pretty common that you drift on your turns?
Yeah, that's something that you just have to learn how to deal with.
Yeah.
Because the way drones work, I mean, if you stop the propellers, your momentum's still going to go, just no matter what.
Okay.
Right? So when you're turning,
what I've been trying to do is point the nose and turn into it, and then give it some more throttle to sort of get it going straight in the direction that I'm trying to go, right?
Yeah, it's all about arresting that momentum. So, I mean, you will have, especially depending what quad you're using. If you're using a heavier quad, you're going to have more momentum, and it's going to be harder to pull away from that momentum.
It's 140 grams.
Okay, so yeah, not heavy. So really, it's just going to be getting that angle. You probably need just a little bit more angle and a little bit more thrust, probably.
Yeah.
And again, I would look into tuning your rates. That's the first thing you should do, honestly, is tune your rates so that they feel right to you, and then learn to fly.
I'll do that when I start flying the quad if I have similar issues.
Does
then I
does
can...
does that Cinelog, does that have black box on that flight controller?
No idea. That's
I
an
think
interesting
it
question.
should.
I should check.
There are some videos out there of people flying their FPVs, and they include like their FPV or camera view.
Yeah. The stick.
Fingers, so
Yeah.
you can see that.
Yeah, I try to watch when I see those.
So I'm newbie. In other words, I've got a stupid, or I mean, I got a little, these things here, and I haven't really flown them. So all I've been flying is the DJI FPV version, but not even in just regular mode, not manual mode. So how many times have you crashed your in the last 2 weeks?
In the sim, a bunch of times. My drone, I haven't been brave enough to put it in.
Box.
Okay.
And well, it's starting to get windy down here in Florida. With that small drone, I don't really want to go out and try to do my first flight with the wind at like 15 mile an hour with a 140 gram drone. I'm sure because it's FPV, I'm sure it can do it fine, but I really don't want that to be my first experience of me having to just try to get not crash the thing and fight the wind at the same time, kind of thing, as my first experience. So I'm kind of waiting and just keep doing the sim and trying to get more comfortable in the sim.
Wind does get a little tricky with the lighter guys because you're gonna have to put a lot more thrust into going against it and a lot less coming back. There was that one video that I made at the nuclear towers, and it's like you can tell from my tilt that I'm like flying all slow this direction, and then coming back the other way, it's like half tilted.
I may have an interesting question. So I can do Bando just fine. I tried to do that parking lot one, which obviously you have a ceiling. Oh my God, trying to learn thrust control on that one to keep the drone at I keep bouncing off the ground. I either bounce off the ground or bounce off the ceiling because I can't quite get my thrust control quite right. In that
definitely go in and set your expo. Do like a 0.4, just to start with. Do like a 0.4 expo on your throttle and see what it feels like. It'll make it a lot more squishy towards the center. So that's the real way to do it. And then you might need to change your mid too.
I was messing with the camera, so putting it at 0 so I could try to get the drone flat kind of thing. That kind of helped, but you're probably right on the throttle control because with the throttle control, I either hit the ceiling or drop and hit the ground.
Yeah, throw a little expo on there. You might look into checking your mids, which is basically like if your throttle is at 30% and you're flying straight up, then you need to change your mid because your middle is not at 30%.
Okay. Anyways, I went in today and messed around in that one just to. I did it intentionally just to force myself to try to practice throttle control, right? Because I knew that's what the challenge was the first time I went in. I got around a little bit, but I was still like all over the place. So
yeah, you'll get it though. You'll get it eventually. Trust me. We've all been there, bro.
yeah. I knew that. I know that one's the hardest one because you got to have fine motor control over the drone in order to fly something like that. Out in a big open space with like nothing over top of you, you got a lot more room for slop in how you fly it, right? Without flying into things.
The expo will give you a lot more control too.
Are you guys pinchers?
No,
on the remote?
I can't.
I'm a thumber.
You're a thumber?
Yeah, thumber.
Okay.
I need to order some new. Mercy Quads has got some.
How about you, Michael?
I forget who it's from, but they're made for thumbers. It's sort of a gel.
I'm a hybrid, so I fly like this. I pinch here and I pinch here and I go and I use my thumb here.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I feel like pinching actually is a little bit better, but I've been playing video games since I was like 3, so I'm so used to that.
The reason I bought the Zorro, right? Because it looks like an Xbox controller.
Yeah,
because that's the way I played, and that's the way I've played all my life. So,
Rod, one of the things you can do. One of the things that I used to like to practice, and I still do it kind of for fun. I actually really enjoy doing it in real life because it's just cool looking. But something good to practice for a little bit of the throttle control and to halt that drift that you're talking about. Try to fly and then turn sideways and stop. So you have to
Oh,
literally
yeah,
turn
yeah.
sideways,
Yeah,
click
yeah.
the
Yeah.
throttle, and then completely
Yeah.
drop your throttle back.
Yep, that's how I
I
learned
do
it.
that. I've been doing that on the turns. I will turn into the turn, drop the throttle to almost nothing, and sort of complete the turn, and then try to use the throttle to get me thrusted in the right direction, right?
Yeah, because
Because you're on the throttle in the turn, that's gonna make you drift more, right? Because that keeps that.
Wait,
Not
what
if
was
you-
your mid?
not if you tilt.
What was your
Yeah,
mid throttle at? How right?
Say again?
What do you have your
I'm
mid
not sure
throttle
what
on?
the throttle. I'm not sure what the throttle
Well,
is set at.
if you didn't touch nothing, it's gonna be set to 50.
Ken put a load on. He put a
It's
setting on when he did the beta flight.
Probably 50. You can check in beta flight where your mid throttle is at. Go to mid throttle and you'll see if it's at like
It's
40
some
or
setting. It's some tune that he said
like
is
a
pretty
preset.
good. So
He put a preset in there?
so I'm sure it's tuned down a little, so it's not so twitchy.
Sounds like Bill's taping up a box or something.
But that's a good idea, Caleb. But that whole
He's shipping the Mavic, getting ready to ship the Mavic 3 to me.
So the other thing I find on my turns sometimes is I'll come out of the turns and I'm yawed flying forward in a yaw.
Yeah.
And then I'm trying to get the drones pointed back straight where I'm going. I'm flying sideways where I'm going instead of straight where I'm going.
Yeah, that'll just be experience. I would probably turn your yaw.
Sometimes I do it okay. Sometimes I do it okay. Sometimes I don't. It literally is one of those. Back to what we were talking about, right? Just getting the feel for what you're doing with the sticks, where, and kind of understanding in your head which way the drone is sort of pointed, leaning, going, all that kind of stuff. And
That's where the rates
with enough flight time, it just becomes part of what you do, right?
Yeah, but that doesn't mean you should be learning bad habits. So one of
True.
the things that can happen is if your rates are set up really weird and you learn to fly like that, and then you switch to good rates where it's like, okay, now you should have a lot more control, but then now you have to relearn how to fly.
Sure.
But then you're way better. And I mean, like, one of the things that I had a hard time with is I actually had to turn my yaw down a little bit. So a lot of people say have your pitch, roll, and yaw at the exact same. So your rates are like 0.6 for all of them or something like that. But I usually turn my yaw down from like, so if my rates are 0.6, I turn it down to like 0.53 or something like that. And what that does, doing those turns, it just gives me a little bit better of a feel with the
right. It's a little softer and not quite as snappy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it makes my yaw match that roll for the turn a little bit better. So I'm not trying to like over yaw with my roll.
Actually, that's a good question. So is Liftoff using the rates that are on the controller? Or is it just using the in-game rate? Or is it just using the in-game rates?
Yeah, it has an in-game beta flight. Every quad has its own flight controller. And one of the cool things with Liftoff too is you can choose what type of like flight controller you want to use. So you could do KISS or Clean Flight or Beta Flight or actual rates, which is just freaking beautiful. Actual rates is the best way to go. You can just set the sensitivity of the center of your stick instead of trying to set like.
So the rates that I have are probably the rate of that Cinelog 20 that I downloaded from Steam.
Yeah, that would make sense. Yep.
Yeah, I have actual rates. I'm on actual rates.
Yeah, actual rates is just so much easier to understand.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Now, basically, regular rates, they're like you've got your RC super rate, you've got your rate, and then you've got your expo. And you've basically got to kind of get all those three just right to get the sensitivity of the center of the stick the way you want.
Mm-hmm.
The way actual rates work is it just has a setting for center of the stick, how fast everything flips, your rate, and then your expo.
Sure.
So you can be like, all right, I want to turn the sensitivity at the center from 200 down to 60, and all of a sudden it's not nearly twitchy, which is basically what expo does too, but putting them together just works way better.
Because I use expo on my camera drones to sort of soften it up, so it's not really when I start moving the stick, it's not going to be twitchy when I start moving the stick.
Dude, I cannot tell you when I went from FPV drones and I first started flying like the Mavic, I think the Mavic 1 and then the Mavic Air or the Air 2, and like they didn't have sensitivity or expo settings, and I was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
It's totally different. It's totally different. Like when I
Yeah,
went
like-
back to flying my Air 2S, I was like, oh my god, I've been flying FPV so much that it's totally different.
You know, and that's what's interesting about that is the guys that whine when they fly non-DJI drones, right? Oh, this doesn't fly like DJI. Well, no kidding. It's not the exact same rates. That's what expo settings in the software for those drones is for, so that you can set it to however you kind of get it. But I compare it to somebody who drives a Ford all the time and then jumps in and drives a Chevy. Hey, this thing don't steer like the other one. It's a piece of crap. No, it's not. It's just different. It's a different feel. No different than a car having a different feel.
F-150 and then jumping into a Corvette and being like, I don't get it. Why can't I go over bumps?
Exactly.
It
Exactly.
doesn't turn the same.
It doesn't mean that one's worse than the other. It doesn't mean that one drives is worse than the other because it doesn't have the same feel. I kind of really hate that argument on the internet over the drone stuff because I just want to bang my head and go. That's what the settings in the software is for, to make it what you want it to be. And obviously the FPV guys know that because they're setting their settings to exactly what they want it to be, right? They're not using
it's crazy
some
to me how many
factory
people
setting.
don't even know that there's expo settings on most of the DJI
Oh,
drones.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Well,
man,
Autel
you're
drones
shooting
have
yourself
them
in the
too.
foot.
Yeah, the Autel drones have them too. So you can set them and put it to what you want. So.
We definitely play with those on the cameras, on like an Inspire.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You don't want that thing to just
Yeah. That's generally the first one you start playing with it, so that you don't like give the camera a whiplash.
Yep. I think we went the opposite direction with the smoothing with the expo on the camera on the Inspire 2 at one point. And so I was like holding it down and it wasn't doing anything. And then all of a sudden it's like whoosh. I was like, oh, Jesus Christ. Like trying to smooth itself too much.
Yeah.
The Inspire 2 actually gets kind of weird like that. That thing does smooth almost a little bit too much sometimes.
Yeah. It doesn't mean that it's bad, right? It's just a matter of setting your settings to what works for what you like, right?
Yeah. It just takes too much control away. But again, just lower the setting.
As long as the software gives you the ability to adjust that stuff, then who cares what comes out of it? I mean, it's nice that, sure, do we want the rates to be whatever similar to the DJI rates so it flies kind of similar? Okay, sure. Is it exactly the same? No. But you have the EXP settings, go make it what you want it to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, that's one of the best things is that you can just get it exactly how you need it to feel. I mean, your rates are not going to be the same as my rates. That's just how it is.
No, everybody's fingers are different sizes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
And hands are different sizes. So,
or something that might be fun for you to try out later, Rod. Have you tried turning your camera angle to like 80 degrees and flying like that?
So funny you asked that question. So in that garage one, right, where I was struggling, that's what I actually did, Dale. I think I set it at like 40 degrees or something like that on the camera angle. I actually did a little better with the camera angle set that way, so that I was kind of flying the drone like that.
So 40 is about how you'd want it, like a normal 35, 40 is what I generally kind of fly at if I'm not doing cinema type stuff. Because the thing with the drones is you do always want to be moving forward. I mean, it's just way harder to hover than it is to move forward, and that gives you that turning. But so what happens though is your camera angle directly changes how much yaw you have to put into your turns. Because if your camera angle is like this, then your yaw is actually going to be most of your turn. If your camera angle is like this, you're literally just yawing up into the sky sideways.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
when you're flying at an 80-degree angle, you're actually going to use your roll for almost all of your turning because you're like a jet fighter now, just pulling straight forward. It's kind of interesting.
I'm on 25. I fly 25.
25, yeah. Yeah, I think racers are usually at 45 or 50.
Yeah.
But basic racers, the super fast racers, they're doing like 80s, and it's freaking insane.
Yeah.
But it's crazy how it completely changes the way it flies, the way it feels, because you're not using that yaw to turn anymore. So it's super different. I'm the host now. Agreed. How can I turn on this video that I want to watch?
Hey Dale, he hasn't finished the job yet, dude. He keeps whacking him. He keeps getting up. He can't.
I don't know, man. Something's getting banged on back there.
He's like, die.
Freddie or Jason have invaded Bill's office.
FedEx showed up with the Pocket 2 instead of the Pocket 3.
Could be.
Dale's like, Bill's like, why won't you die, dude?
And Andrew, you are 100% correct. It is so much fun. When I first got into drones, it's because I watched a freestyle video and I was like, you can be an F-22 pilot now without dying or being in the military or having perfect eyesight. I am in. My fastest drone does 115.
Little Star Wars pod racing.
You know, I haven't even looked to see what the top speed on that Cine 20 is.
This guy does 115.
Oh, man. So early on, I tried one of the DJI like flight simulator and with the goggles and stuff, and that just made me ill. But then once I actually flew, it doesn't make me ill. You know, but that FPV, there was something off with the frame rates and stuff. Man, I mean, the simulator was awful.
Oh yeah, I mean that's the big thing that makes people sick is the frame rate being off. This is the same thing with VR. A lot of people don't realize, but basically, if you drop under 90 frames per second in VR, it's way easy to get sick because it's just not enough speed for your brain to notice that, or it's not fast enough for your brain to not notice that you've tilted your head, but it hasn't caught up yet. And that's what throws off your equilibrium and makes you feel really sick. And yeah, the same thing can happen with the FPV goggles, no problem.
Back in
try it with a screen. You don't
back
have
in
to
2015, sat at Oshkosh at EAA in Wisconsin, and they had a simulator. It was like you were flying a powered paraglider. So you had your hands and you had buttons and you had motors to crank the motors, and you're sitting in a basket, right, or a basket seat, and then they had a fan blowing on you, and you had headphones on, so you had all that noise, and you had goggles on, and wherever you looked, there's a red dot in the middle, and you could look at buildings, and then you could fire missiles and stuff, and at a compound in the Middle East.
Fun. Oh, of course.
So I got to the edge of the place, and I'm looking over here like this sideways, and I'm like, oh, I got to turn around, and I pulled on it to turn, like just like that, and I swear, man, I was moving and flying back like that, and then like within 10 seconds, then it ended, and then they pulled up, and I'm like, whoa, because I thought I really was moving around. That's how good it felt.
My favorite is Microsoft Flight Simulator. Doing VR in the Microsoft Flight Simulator is mind-blowingly cool. Because you literally feel like you're looking out the plane. If you turn sideways, you're like looking down.
Oh, that's cool.
It's so cool. I do a lot of VR. I love video games. I love VR. I've been obsessed with tech forever. So I don't really get sick in VR, but I have one time, and that's when I went to a VR like arcade, and they had a racing VR setup, and the seat moved, but they had the settings wrong, so the seat was moving at the wrong times. Like it was just like 2 seconds or like 20 milliseconds or like 50 milliseconds off. So I would turn in the car, and then my brain would like slightly turn, and then the seat would turn, and it just threw my whole body out of whack so fast. I got so sick. I was like, oh no. Because literally what I was seeing and what I was feeling just weren't matching quite, like just a little bit off, and it was enough to make my whole brain just be like, okay.
Caleb,
yeah, and that's one of the things they teach real pilots, right? Because one of the things that gets real pilots in trouble is not trusting their instruments and trusting what their body is feeling, which can get them. What they're feeling may or may not be accurate. Trust the instruments in your face.
Your legs. Yeah.
There was one weekend we flew from Painfield to Toppenish in a 172. We took some drones over there to do some ag work. And so we flew over there because it was, it's like an hour and a half flight as opposed to like a 6-hour drive or 5-hour drive, whatever it is each way. And as we're heading over, I think Kent or something like that, I was looking at something. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. And the pilot Todd was like, "Oh, what?" And he just goes like this on me, and I thumped my head sideways as he went up like this. I'm like, "Hey, give me at least some warning," because the seatbelts in those things, are just like floppy. There's not a whole lot in those little planes. And he just was like, he was going up like this so that he could look down and see what I was looking at. I was looking out the window. And I just like, just give me some warning at least.
That's what killed John F. Kennedy Jr., right? He was flying around in the fog and flying by feel instead of because he wasn't instrument rated and plunked the airplane in the ocean.
Yeah.
Because I'm feeling this, and what he was feeling was not what the plane was doing.
You had the wristband on. Bill, what you doing over there, Bill?
I talked to somebody once that flew fighter planes, and they said there's instances where you won't even realize you're upside down. Like you'll literally think that the ocean is the sky, and like your brain just doesn't quite get it because you've been pulling so many G's for a few minutes. You're just like, I don't know what's going on. Like,
yeah.
So yeah,
lag in the brain, right?
Pretty much.
I mean, we have a generation. I mean, Caleb, I don't know when you first started using a touch screen or tablet or phone or something like that.
They're super fresh.
My son is 21, so gaming generation. Now we didn't let them do it until they were probably in school at least, like not sitting at 3 years old playing games on the phone in the restaurant. That some of them do.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, Bill sounds like he's beating on something.
I think I used to have like the little like slot machine games at that age. Like the little tiny, like it plays one little slot machine game. That's all you can do is press the button over and over again.
We had
the old Tecmo football game.
Watching Michael fly in the sim, oh my God, he does way too damn many flips for me and spins and everything. My brain just can't keep up with what he's doing in there. Just like, there's no way I could fly like that. I'd just fall over if I tried to fly like that.
You get there eventually.
Yeah.
I actually am not as good at freestyle. I don't do as many flips and stuff like that. I really, really enjoy proximity flying and just the really smooth. I don't know.
That's all I'm aiming for
flying.
Is the nice and smooth. Maybe a flip here, a roll there, power loop there.
Yeah, for me, it's hitting gaps.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. For me, it's like if I'm depends on the location. So if I'm at near a bando, I'll do like freestyle stuff. But if I see a nice area, I'll do cinematic stuff.
Yeah, that's.
I like cinematic too. It's really nice.
Some of that freestyle stuff that I've seen on YouTube. Oh my God, I don't even know how much they had to practice to do some of the crap that they do.
You got to look up F-Core FPV. He's one of the guys I fly with here in Chicago. Like the whole crew here in Chicago, they're fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Watch F-Core FPV and your mind will be like, oh my gosh, dude. I fly with him all the time. He's amazing. I always ask him, listen, I need some of your DNA because, dude, the way you fly, bro, oh my God.
Some people just get it. That drone is an extension of their arms and they can make it do anything and everything. But it took an awful lot of flying to get to that point.
Like all the Mr. Steel stuff. He's ridiculous.
Yeah. Dude,
you can tell that he literally just has like spatial computations in his head.
Right. Your mind.
Exactly.
It's like your mind. Like when I like F-Core, when I see F-Core, I'm like, dude, I can't wrap myself like your mind. You have to be like what's next, dude? What I gotta do next, dude? He does it so quickly. And it's all his hands, his hands. It's like his brain telling his hands what to do real quick. It's amazing.
Yeah, but like I said, God only knows how many times he crashed until he got to that point.
Oh, of course. Everybody crashes when you're trying new things. Like I said, like me in the sim, remember? Hot Rod?
Yeah.
If I like to try some new things, you gotta take the risk. You're gonna crash. FPV, it's a must. You crash.
I always like the good close rock climbs. You get up close and then just turn around and flying down.
I'm okay with the yacht spins, and I'm okay with the rolls at the moment. Those
Or like Caleb, when you did the sats up, and I think you were one of them, or maybe it was one of the other guys that went right up to the top of it and turned around, just trying to drift down.
Yeah.
As close as you could to the tower.
Yeah, it was one of the other guys. They were trying to building dive it. That was a lot of fun. I enjoyed watching them get angry at it.
Well, they had some wind blow up there, so.
Well, it was two things. It was wind blow and the fact that it was a convex top. So they were trying to dive this building, but it was a nuclear silo, so it went like this. So they were trying to dive straight down, but they couldn't get close enough because they needed to come in to the top of it. And they were getting really annoyed with it because they'd catch wind right at the top with that draft, and then they'd try to come down and they just couldn't get it
close enough. But it was pretty cool.
It was still cool. Yeah, absolutely.
I wonder if Bill's ever going to come back.
Yeah, it's been 13 minutes now, I think.
More than that.
More than that, yeah, for sure.
Oh yeah.
I'm actually gonna have to go here in a minute, so I wasn't trying to.
He's
gonna come back, and there's just gonna be nobody here.
Yeah, there's gonna be nobody here. Exactly. now that I know how to plug my battery in.
Okay, so
I'll go do the balance charge.
Yeah, not
Caleb, you said this is garbage.
Not garbage. They're still good for some things, just not really good for drones.
That's good. I mean, I got the
This is okay.
I got that from Max. Yeah, that's good. Sergio's got that. Sergio's got the Max. Actually, Sergio's selling his because he bought the Boxer now. But I was given this by Max. Like this would be good for like if you want to fly planes and stuff like that.
Yeah, the problem with the Spectrum stuff is that nobody's making drones with Spectrum receivers at all. So you have to put your own receiver on.
Gotcha. Yeah.
That's the one that I have. And yeah, no, they're great transmitters.
Actually, that's interesting. What do they fly the
That's like good for planes.
What's Max flying the plane with, Mikey?
I think a Spectrum too.
Because I got this too, Caleb. So I got this and the Darwin, both of them, but I've not got them up in the air at all. Period.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. Yeah, Spectrum is still great for planes. They have tons and tons and tons of different plane receivers. So I mean, it's a great way to go. The problem is that most of those plane receivers are big boxy things, so they're too heavy for our FPV stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And Spectrum is like, I don't care about that. So they made like 2 little tiny ones, and that was pretty much it.
Here's my first drone.
I remember having one of those little helicopters.
You know, the Army has something like that costs like $80,000 and flies for 20 minutes.
Yeah, the little Black Hornet.
Yeah.
I held one of those in my hands at the SHOT Show in 20.
Amazing the little crap we have.
And then
and God help you if you're the bad guy, because you'll never freaking see that damn thing ever. As small as that thing is, you're never gonna know that thing's flying around your head.
They're quiet too.
You can tell me and Michael do FPV because we have the same chair.
Yeah. Yeah. Caleb, have you ever seen this quad before?
I don't think so. Which one is that?
You haven't seen it before because I'm the only one that has it in the United States.
Yeah, what is that?
It's called the Bando X. It's from a guy from Dublin that created this frame.
Nice.
It's a Bando X. This thing's a basher. This thing's a freaking basher.
Are those 4mm arms?
These are no, they're like 6.
Holy crap! Yeah, okay.
Look, they're 6.
That'll take some hits, and
look
replaceable arms on there, right?
Yeah, look at the top plates, and I got warranty on this.
Wow, cool.
For parts, he sends them to me. Look at this. Look at the top plate.
Yeah, that's crazy.
The top plate is thick, dude. And so this thing's
so it's a flying tank, is what you're saying.
Yeah, it's a basher, bro. It's good, and it flies great. I got good motors on there, and the guy did a good job on that quad. Jimmy sent it to me. You know Jimmy, Dizzy Dean. He sent it to me.
You should try to build something like Doc Murdoch. I think last I heard Doc was going to try to build like a 10-inch.
His Excalibur is pretty cool. You seen his Excalibur?
Mm.
That's different.
So somebody yell at Bill.
Now if Bill comes out here with a bunch of blood on him.
Well, I think it must be super.
Well, anyways, it was a good night for me. You guys answered all my questions.
All
All
right, guys, the show is over now. The show has ended.
Yeah, it's over. Bill's
Everybody
back.
wave bye. We'll
Thanks
see
for
you
coming
later.
in, guys.
Bye.
The show's over. Bye.
No, y'all can leave. I'll stay.
Dude,
Bye.
how many bodies were you bagging up? Dude?
Yeah, did it take you that long to wash all the blood off, Bill? Is that what's going on?
No, my wife is under the weather, and I had to go downstairs and take care of our clients.
Oh,
Ooh, how does that feel? Ooh, yeah. Oh, so I did the noble thing. Yeah.
So the
I don't
noise
believe you.
you left your mic on, and it sounds like you're like bagging up bodies.
No, she's walking up and down the hallway because she's kind of she's like
Mobility issues.
no, not so she feels like she's kind of dizzy, so she's just walking, you know.
Mm.
So and I had to go downstairs and take care of stuff. So yeah,
Well, you missed all the fun.
How did I miss all the fun? We only got 13 people here.
Because we had a great conversation when you were
Oh
gone.
yeah, but okay. Well, keep
yeah, who
going.
cares
Then.
about them?
Keep going.
We
I'll go
came
ahead
back
and
to
hit this one.
FPVs and remotes and
Well, I know Lloyd said that he would be willing to come for the D&D drone related dungeon type thingamabobby. And I don't know. I think Rod probably is up for it. I know that I would assume that Dale's probably up for it. The only problem is figuring out how to squeeze it into an hour to an hour and a half.
I'm
You probably
sure
don't want the whole show to be
Caleb could
just
write up
that.
a short scenario with some interesting twists and turns.
We can figure it out.
Yeah, we may have to make it a 2-episode deal. Who knows? It depends on, and it depends on how much audience participation we get.
Yeah, right. If everybody else starts telling you guys what to do, it could take a while just for anything to happen.
Yeah, like okay, guys, we don't know what to do now. Everybody in the audience, should we open the large iron door or try to barter with the orc?
The Karen.
the orc.
Barter with
Karen.
the Karen.
Oh no, it's not a Karen, it's a Carl. Hey, I'm out of here, Bill. I'm out next week too because I'll be in Seattle at the Pacific Marine Expo. If anybody's in the
Alrighty.
Seattle area and wants an invitation, I can get you at least into the expo floor.
Oh,
I might try that out there. That'd be kind of cool.
Oh, and something else also is locally is something that Caleb's been doing on what is it, Tuesdays and Thursdays or something, or what days is it?
Depends on what safari you're operating.
Yeah, I think it's actually Thursdays and Saturdays right now. We've been kind of partnering with Edmonds Community College. Real quick though, before you go, Dale, check out that video that I posted. You should watch that. It's really, really cool. But yeah, we're partnering with Edmonds Community College specifically with their maker shop. They have a shop called The Facility, and it's a maker shop. So they have everything from 3D printers to sandblasters to all sorts of engineering and soldering and everything you could ever think of, including manufacturing their own Kevlar and carbon fiber and stuff. So we're going to be doing classes through there probably to replace most of our meetups since it's going to be raining for the next foreseeable future. But people are fully welcome to come in and join those classes. It's going to be everything from things like this where we randomly talk about FPV to I think next one is tinkering. So that would be perfect for people that wanted to figure out their settings and things like that, or try out simulators and just try fixing their drones and things like that. And eventually we're going to be getting into a little bit of R&D too. So we're going to be trying to create some of our own frames and some of our own different things. We've got a guy who's already building a drone with a Raspberry Pi as his flight controller. And
my fixing my drones will be drive over to Orlando and hand it to Race Day Quads. Because they're right there.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Hey, Caleb, did you fly Ghosts last night?
I did. It was kind of fun. We just used the Air 2S, and it was basically just a little ghouly dude with a big cape, and we just hung him like 5 feet from the drone, and just flew around chasing people at the college.
I've seen a lot of videos yesterday on that. Like a
Yeah,
lot of people,
Koopy's been
a lot of
doing
people
that.
are doing that. Yeah,
Yeah,
Koopy did
Koopy's
it.
been doing that all the way back to the original Mavic.
Mhm.
That's when he started doing it. Was back then. But
Yeah, they
that's
wanted
cool.
to do it to kind of get more word out, I guess.
Yeah,
I
I
also
just
watched that video before, so yeah, I did see it. That's an awesome video on that
very cool.
the shared link in the private chat.
My buddy Caesar
Oh,
did
yeah.
one. My buddy Caesar did one with his FPV drone with a witch on it.
Oh,
you know,
yeah,
with
yeah,
a
That's cool.
broomstick, and he was just flying over around. It was so awesome.
I mean, that's what I kind of want to do next year is just build something that the prop is the drone. Because I mean, you can make 4 motors fly just about anything these days. So
Yeah.
it's pretty
you
cool.
showed
One of my
that one
favorite.
to all of us, man. Like probably I don't know what a month ago, and it just so happened that when I brought it up, it had the very next video that showed how they did all of it, and I posted the link to that because it was like impossible. Yeah, but not really impossible. It made
Yeah,
sense.
the one thing on my drone that I will fix, I'm sure, because it looks like it's probably not hard to do, is the prop guards. I got to get the replace. I need to order a set of the replacement prop guards. The funny part of it is the prop guards are like $4.99 for 4 of them.
Caleb, in reference to that video, the thing that sucks about that is, they tell you that usually the simplest answer is the right one. But always my problem is I'll say, well, it's got to be this, and they did this. But I'm always going, well, it's a magic trick. There's got to be more to it. It's got, so I spend more time. And then when I go look at it and go, well, that's what I thought to begin with. But why in the hell didn't I just go, yeah, that was it?
Occam's razor.
Yeah.
Simplest truth is often the real one.
All right,
right.
peace out, guys.
Nowadays,
night.
it seems like we're in the opposite. Nowadays, we're in like Occam's pan flute or something. I don't know what's going on.
You should probably highlight props. Last
Wait.
comment. there.
Debated so many times to open, repair, and build shop for FPV. Quality control is part of the. Oh yeah. Especially if they're there with you while you're trying to fix it, and they can explain to you what they saw in beta flight or whatever, or what they tried to do. But trying to talk to them back and forth in chat and trying to figure out what the hell's going on. No, I just don't see it happening. It just ain't gonna.
Like I said, race day quads is 45 minutes from me or something like that.
Well,
down to
Progressive
Orlando.
is like
down to Orlando. I'll pay them to
20 minutes from me.
fix the motor or fix the boards.
Say 25 minutes. Oh, next Monday I'm going to see Kiss End of the Road tour.
Nice.
But I've also heard they said this was going to be the last one, but they're going to wait probably 5 more years, and they're going to have another one. They're going to call it the End of the Road tour and Into the Home.
Creed is going back on tour with 3 Doors Down again.
Is it going to be Creed with Scott Stapp, or is it going to be?
I think it's the new guy.
It's not going to be because Scott can still sing pretty good. He sings a lot of their old stuff,
Yeah.
and I wouldn't want to go see him unless he was in front. But he's gotten really, I don't know, because a lot of his stuff was like religious and other and political in nature, but it just kind of came off good for the time that they came up. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Anyway, I wanted to say thank you to Michael. Thank you to all the other people that are here with me every week. And thank you for all the crazy 8 people, because 4 of them are us, that are still watching the show. And next week, don't forget, we will have Nemo on after God knows how long. He's going to come on and tell us what all he's been doing, what he's been up to. So basically, next week will be a continuation of the FPV subject with a little bit of 3D printing thrown in. And I'm sure he'll give us an update on what all else is going on with him, because I think he mentioned to me that he's wanting to really get back into the community and maybe be on a few shows here and there. So
Awesome.
that would be really cool. So next week, tune in for Where in the World is G. Nemo Edwards?
With Nemo.
Yeah, well, as I told him, I said, but that's what I said. It's gonna be like
That's
to
good.
Carmen San Diego. Where
That's good.
in the world is
That's
G.
good. I like
Nemo
that.
Edwards?
I like
Yeah.
that.
That was
All
a great
right.
show. A great show tonight. Great discussion.
Yep. And I wasn't in for most of it, so that's why y'all had so much fun. because Caleb swears, he said, don't drink Red Bull. So I made sure that I drank Red Bull and showed him the can multiple times. And I even ate a shitload of sugar. And I didn't talk at all. But, I got to go check on her. So thank you very much, people. With that being said, live long and prosper. We'll see you.
I can't do